Welcome to the Vernon Hills Update. The update offers information about a variety of village services. You'll meet a few of your neighbors and you'll find out about upcoming events. On today's show, we'll see what's cooking for this year's Little Bear Ribfest, a barbecue and blues celebration hosted by the Vernon Hills Park District. This year's Ribfest will be August 21st and 22nd at Century Park. We'll stop by the new giant AMC Hawthorn 12 Theater, located at the northeast corner of the Westfield Hawthorn Mall. We'll learn about the 11th annual Law Enforcement Exhibition, which will take place on September 12th and 13th at Westfield Hawthorn Mall. And we'll visit with the folks from the Lake County Genealogical Society, which is located in the lower level of the Vernon Hills Village Hall. Thank you for tuning in to the Vernon Hills Update.
It is a beautiful day at Century Park. We're on Big Bear Lake. This is Big Bear Lake, right, Marty?
It is Big Bear Lake, yes.
Okay. Well, we're with Marty Walsh, who is Mr. Ribfest. So we're going to talk about Ribfest coming up in August. Can't wait. And it is at this park. But let's talk, before we get there, where are we? Because I bet there's people that haven't seen this beautiful spot on Big Bear.
Sure, we are at the north end of Century Park, which was redeveloped just a few years ago through an OSLAD grant through the Department of Natural Resources. We've done some great improvements. Behind us is a new fishing pier, a lot of new amenities, park playground. We got permanent bocce sets, bago, horseshoes, a lot of things for all ages. So yeah, make sure that everybody comes out to Century Park North sometime this summer.
Yeah, and where we parked, you know, when you're going into the light show off Lakeview Parkway, that's where we went in and parked, and there were a lot of people out here to enjoy this beautiful park. You can take the walking path, the bike path around, and in fact, you have a lot of park. Before we get talking about Ribfest, I want to talk about the parks because we are really fortunate here. We have a lot of parks all over town.
We sure do. We have over 20 parks throughout town, so essentially there's going to be a park probably within walking distance of your home and your neighborhood. So make sure you go out and see how many you can visit each summer. You know, we've got over 20 parks, new playground equipment. If you've heard about the Kids Castle redevelopment, we're going to be redoing Kids Castle this fall. Just lots of fun and new exciting things at all of our parks, so make sure you spend time out there with your families.
And if you go on the website, you can even get a list. You know, you can download a kind of a map. And I know, like, especially in the summertime when families want something to do, they'll just mark it off, like, you know, kind of like notches on their belt. Yeah, we saw that park. We saw that park because it's a lot to do. We're really fortunate here.
Yeah, for such a small community, we do have more parks per capita than a lot of other communities, so we're very, very lucky. So that's a huge thanks to our administration and our Parks Department that spends a lot of hours maintaining those parks and updating playgrounds and maintenance checks. So it's a group effort.
And it's something the residents appreciate, and so that's one of the things that makes Vernon Hills great. So let's talk about another thing that makes Vernon Hills great. You're going to have another, put on by the Park District, you're going to have another Little Bear Ribfest. And to me, it's a new festival, but is this year 5?
We are turning 5 this year, yes. Our little baby's growing up. So yeah, we started this back in 2011, and yeah, we've had a great year ever since. It's a festival that we're really promoting music and food as a core of the event. We got 5 phenomenal blues acts coming back this year. We've got 6 rib vendors, all with a local presence. One thing that we pride ourselves in is really working with local vendors to bring in their local fare. I think really 5 of the 6 are based out of the Chicago area, plus 1 from southern Wisconsin. So we're very, very lucky. We've got almost all the same rib vendors coming back as they have for the last 5 years now. So we're very fortunate to have such a dedicated crew of vendors.
And Little Bear Ribfest now, it's at the south end of Century Park. It's at the same place where Summer Cell just was. It's August 21st and 22nd. It's a 2-day festival. It's in the Summer Cell ground, but it is different from Summer Cell. It's more of it's music and ribs. It's not carnival rides or
No, we just finished a 4-day fest that the village put on. It's Summer Celebration. That's where you've got 14 or 15 food vendors, carnival rides, family play areas, kids activities, things like that. It's wonderful. I was just out here with my family as well. But several years ago, we had a lot of feedback feedback from a survey from moms and dads saying we do a lot of Park District does a lot of things for kids, but not so much for moms and dads. So we decided let's host a 2-day event just for moms and dads. So we are focusing this event for the grown-ups. Kids are of course welcome, but there will not be a midway with carnival rides or anything like that. The focus is going to be on the ribs and the music. So.
And even if you don't like ribs, the vendors do have other foods,
Sure.
but it's just
yes.
that people do kind of come with their barbecue brain on.
Oh yeah, there'll be sandwiches, there'll be mac and cheese, there'll be corn on the cob, there'll be lots of we'll have dessert items and things like that. So yes, the food will be family friendly. Obviously, we'll have a lot of items there for kids too, but we're not going to be having a specific kids area. It's one of those times we say, get a babysitter, come on out, have a great night with mom and dad, and
enjoy the blues.
Enjoy the blues, yes, some great barbecue.
Well, let's talk because it is music, food, and fun. That's kind of your logo. And we talked a little bit about some of those food vendors coming back, and I know you can go online and get if you really want to plan out your meals. The music, you talked, generally about the good blues acts. I've got the names here, but do you want to run down those for everybody?
Yeah. Every year we've always included a couple local bands, and this year we decided to really have a local Chicago flavor. So we've booked all of our bands are right here from the Chicago area. A lot of festival favorites from Little Etta and the Blues Imperials on Saturday night. Local band who's now touring all across the country. On Friday night we've got Grammy Award nominee Billy Branch and the Sons of Blues, local guy from the north side of Chicago, great harmonica player, just great energy. We've got Joanna Connor on Saturday, who if you've ever seen her at Kingston Mines, you know that she's just one of the best female blues guitarists out there on the scene. Plays slide guitar, can sing like Warren Haynes, some Allman Brothers. She's just phenomenal. She's great. I get so passionate about blues music.
You love it.
So yeah, we've got.
That's why you're Mr. Rib.
I love it. I love the whole thing. We've got Brother John Katke, who's been hosting an open mic night at Buddy Guy Legends for 25 years. I mean, he's pretty much a who's who of players down on the south side. And of course, you've also got the Red, White, and Blues Band, who've been a staple here since day one. They've always been out here. So just come on out. I mean, check out the website, littlebearribfest.com. It'll have all the information. We're also going to be offering tickets online this year if you want to buy your tickets ahead of time, avoid the line. We'll have tickets available at the gate as well. But yeah, check out our website. We're also on Facebook, so check us out on our Facebook page at Little Bear Rib Fest. And we'd love to see you guys out there.
Well, and we should remind everybody that there is a fee to get into the park. And then you buy your ribs and everything. You buy your food separately, but there's a fee to get into the park, and that idea is that ticket goes back to the community.
Exactly. It's a $5 admission for ages 5 and older, and all the money that we do raise from admission will go towards the Family Scholarship Fund, which is something that we offer every year for kids that need help going to camp or preschool or other programs like that through the Park District. So we do rely on the generosity of our community to help out with that, and it's a great cause, great fun, and we look forward to seeing everybody out there.
Excellent. Little Bear Rib Fest, guys, August 21st and 22nd. Can't believe we're already talking about Rib Fest again, but 5th annual, it'll be great. As always, thank you for your time. If you want to know more, go online. You can call over the Park District too. They're all going to be thinking ribs all this time. So thanks for your time, Marty, and we'll say hi when we're over there.
All right, thank you, Lynn.
Well, we are super comfortable because we've come over to the AMC Hawthorn 12, the new big movie theater here at the mall. And we're with Dan Camerata, who's the general manager. You look pretty comfortable as well.
Very comfortable.
And I think AMC 12 is quite comfortable in town. Now, when did you all open up and when did you start showing movies here?
We opened April 30th, which was the middle of the week. It was kind of a soft opening, but then we hit the ground running with Avengers on May 1st.
And that was a huge deal, right?
Yeah, so it's, opening a new building at the beginning of summer season, quite a challenge.
Very well, and we're here on a weekday, and you guys are really full. I mean, we're trying to hurry before all the fans come into this next theater, but you guys have been busy.
Yes, we have. With the comfortable recliners, the seats go quick here.
Well, and let's talk about that. You have a different way that people can, that you suggest people get their tickets, because you do sell out. You've got some of the theaters are smaller, and you say you do sell out, especially on the weekends.
Yeah, the weekends it's very challenging to get a seat, especially during the prime hours of 6 and 8 o'clock in the evening. So we do recommend that people go online to order their tickets, and they can go to amctheaters.com or fandango.com, and they will be able to choose their seats on those websites because they're reserved seating.
Okay, and you can also get a mobile app, so you can do that on your phone, sir.
Correct. AMC has a great mobile app, and you can tie your AMC Stubs card to that app as well.
Okay, tell me about the AMC Stubs card. You've got a great rewards program.
It is our loyalty program. Every $100 you spend at an AMC theater across the country, you get $10 back. So it's like 10% back that you can use to buy tickets, concession items, or even a drink at the bar if you'd like. You also get free upgrades in the stand. So if you order a large popcorn and drink, you only pay for medium. If you order mediums, you only got to pay for the small. You also get the online service fee waived at Fandango and AMCtheaters.com. So the $1.50 per ticket that they charge you gets waived if you have your AMC Stubs card. And we just introduced a discount day for AMC Stubs members. It's Tuesday, and all tickets are $5.71 all day long.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we're here on a Tuesday, so that's probably what's going on here.
That's correct.
It's chopping in here. So, well, and if people wanted to do it the old-fashioned way and they roll up and buy a ticket, I mean, there's a ticket counter and there's people there to help you. But even there, you get to pick your seat, and they're all good.
That is correct. Yeah.
Are all seats like this though?
Yes, they're all recliners, and I tell people, they get a little turned off if only the front row is left. But when you can recline like we are doing, it's not a bad seat. You can recline and check out the full screen.
Well, and we're in a bigger theater right now, but most of them, they're less than how many. So they are intimate. So they will sell out. That's why you got to get your act together.
Right. We have about 1,100 seats and 12 auditoriums, so that averages, less than 100 per auditorium. We do have a couple larger ones like we're in now, but they go as low as 55 seats. There are a few houses that only have about 55 seats.
So we know we can go online for our convenience. We can buy here. We're ready to go. Let's talk about some of the other features. I know you also you found it very important to be accessible for all abilities. So I know you've got some reserved seating that has more room for people that can wheel in.
Yes, we have companion seating, and we do sell spaces for wheelchairs as well. So if there's a person in a wheelchair with a companion, they have the opportunity to reserve their seats as well.
Mm-hmm. And let's talk about some of the features. I know when we started before we rolled tape, we know that the sound is great in here, but you've got a new theater getting ready to open up this fall that's going to be even more special. Can you tell us about that?
Yes, AMC as a company just signed an agreement with Dolby Cinema. So we're introducing Dolby Cinema at AMC Prime. These are specialized auditoriums. They have over 80 speakers in them. They have different recliners. They still have recliners, but they're black, a little more narrow, and they actually have what we call butt kickers in them. So each individual seat is wired to our sound system. So when there's explosions or low bass, you're going to feel it in the seat. Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
That's good. And that comes when, like, you're hoping September?
We think it will be up and running in September. We're supposed to close down the auditorium in August for the rehab.
Okay, so that's going to be one of the bigger theaters. So.
It is our largest auditorium, yep.
Okay. Other features we saw when we were coming in, you've got your big snack bar and all the things there. We saw the pop area, where people like to use your Coke products and mix it yourself. But you've kind of got a lounge area over there for the grown-ups.
Yeah, outside the bar we have a seating area, so if people want to, discuss the movie after they watch it, they can grab a drink and have a good discussion about Trainwreck or whichever movie they just watched.
Yeah, and any other features coming? Because I've heard are you planning more food options? Is that coming?
We have kind of an expanded menu at the concession stand already. We offer Philly cheesesteaks. We have like loaded waffle fries, loaded nachos. We have some shaken lemonades and milkshakes and that type of stuff. So
between that and the lounge, I mean, you can come here and it's more than grabbing a popcorn if you want to.
true. You could have dinner and a movie here if you'd like.
Excellent. Well, that's the sort of stuff that's going on here. Now, I know a question around town. We have another AMC theater that's a favorite. But you said you guys are both doing well, so.
Yeah, with our limited seating capacity, I think that Vernon Hills 8 is still doing well with the overflow that comes from the people that are coming to Hawthorn 12. And I have not heard any plans of closing that theater down. So
We're not putting you on the spot. Well, we kind of are putting you on the spot. That's just one of those questions that everybody's wondering. How that's going to go to AMC?
Yeah, we get a lot of questions about that as well when people come over here. But no, as far as I know, it's staying open. It's doing well.
Well, that's how you do it. Now, the trickiest thing about the whole thing is if you want to learn to go online and you've never done it, but it's a fairly straightforward process, and people here, even at that front desk, can help you learn, because I know they help my husband. So you guys are here to help.
Yes, absolutely. Reserve seating is kind of new to this area, and a lot more theaters are starting to adopt it. And what I've kind of seen is people either love or hate it. The people that hate it, I think, tend to go over to Vernon Hills 8. But we've had more people, I think, love it, because you don't have to show up 20 minutes to grab a good seat, 20 minutes before the show to grab a good seat.
Because you've picked your seat, and it's waiting for you.
Right. And no one's going to sit in your seat, so.
And they're all beautiful seats. I'm telling you, we'll just have to sit around here for a while and enjoy the peace and quiet in here. But thank you for taking the time. I know we've got another crew that's ready to come in for the next movie. So thank you, Dan. Thank you to all of your people over here. And best wishes for a wonderful movie season.
Thank you. We appreciate it. Thanks.
We are at Westfield Hawthorn Mall here in Vernon Hills. I'm with Kim Christensen from the Vernon Hills Police Department, and it's getting ready to talk about the Law Enforcement Expo coming up September 12th and 13th over here.
Our 11th annual law enforcement exhibition
Okay.
at Westfield Hawthorn. Yes, September 12th and 13th. Fabulous event. Had a great turnout every year. Last year, it was one of the best turnouts as far as agencies that were represented. We had approximately, I think it was 28 or 29 law enforcement or law enforcement related agencies there.
They come from the whole area, and I know we've talked about this before. It's a commitment on the part of each of these agencies to support, because it isn't just the bodies sitting there that day, but it's the getting set up and bringing the equipment and all the things they do.
It's nice you brought that up, because it is a lot of work for the agencies. It runs from when the mall's open, Saturday from 10 to 9 p.m. Now, that is a long time. 11 hours is a long time for someone to sit there and greet the guests and say hi to the kids and hand out coloring books and badges or whatever the case may be. But it is a huge time commitment. We have 2 full days. The cars have to be brought in on Friday evening when the mall closes, and they stay there till the mall closes at 6 o'clock on Sunday afternoon. So that even makes it's more than just 2 days, it's the Friday time as well.
Well, and I know getting that equipment in, because you have cars and you have all kinds of things. You have bigger vehicles. It's kind of like putting a ship in a bottle. It's not as easy as you would seem to get those things in there.
It is kind of a chore a little bit, but fortunately the mall and the engineering team at the mall is wonderful about helping us get them in the common vehicle door that they call it, which is right near Maggiano's. That door opens up and the vehicles all come in. It's a big parade coming in and a parade going out. It is a lot of work, but once the doors are open and we get everything out of the way, the agencies know where they have to be. We give them a mall map well ahead of time. So, and most of them have been here before. They pretty much have an idea where they got to go.
Well, let's tell people a little, if you've never been here, you mentioned there's freebies, there's people to talk to, there's equipment. You can learn more about what's going on in law enforcement, and you can learn about the careers and everything else. It's just a potpourri of everything going on.
If they don't have documentation on anything, all you have to do is talk to them, because the officers and the department personnel from all these different agencies that are there to talk to you. They're there to answer your questions, and they're there to have fun as well. So you could just make the rounds and let your children sit in every squad car or visit every squad car. Some of them are open, some of them are not. That depends on the individual agency. But there's a lot to see. There's a lot of officers to see, a lot of police cars to see.
Well, and let's talk about how this started. This started, like you said, this is the 11th time you're doing this, but to kind of honor all these people and to make that community outreach, and it does have a tie-in to 9/11. You always have it around the 9/11 weekend.
Always, ever since the inception of it back in 2005, the department tried to do it in September to have it coincide with 9/11 because of that.
Very good. Well, then what are some of the other things we can see? I know some of things are weather related. Some things you might not have the details yet or the actual schedule. So people are going to have to go online to see that actual schedule when we get closer to those September 12th and 13th. But are you going to see if maybe the helicopters can come in and things like that?
That's the plan. You're right. We have about 6 weeks to go till the event as of today, and it's the planning starting. The planning process is really starting to kick in right now. It is our goal to have the helicopter land again on Saturday and Sunday. That's something we have to coordinate. I expect it to go off as normal. In 2013, we did have a weather problem on a Sunday, so that it had to be scrubbed. We also are planning some canines. I've already got a couple of them lined up for Saturday. I need one or two more on Saturday and maybe a couple on Sunday.
When you say canines, tell us what you're going to see if you have a canine exhibition.
Well, there'll be a canine demonstration for it'll be about half an hour, 45 minutes long, and they'll be scheduled 2 or 3 times on each day, middle of the afternoon, early evening type of thing. Some of the agencies that have canines will bring the dog in with the trainer, with their handler, and it's Tops Kennels from Grays Lake, who is just wonderful year after year after year with helping us organize this. They put on just a nice hunt demonstration for drug sniffing, as well as officer protection, handler protection. There's some interesting, if you've ever seen a canine demonstration, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And even if you have, they're always fun to see again.
So those are the kinds of things you can see, and a lot of freebies, because a lot of these people are very generous with, like you said, badges or stickers or something.
Oh, sure, you can get all kinds of stuff.
So that's September 12th and 13th. There'll be more information on the website and on the police department Facebook and probably the village Facebook. And since we're at it, let's talk about the fact that you do have a kind of a more law enforcement related Facebook that's kind of siphons that information out.
Yes, thank you for bringing that up. We talked about this the last time we met. It's about, as of today, third week in July, it's almost 4 weeks old. About 4 weeks ago, we launched the Vernon Hills Police Department Facebook page. This is in addition to the village page. And I have this morning, I think we topped 800 likes on it. We've had really, really good feedback from people that have visited and people that have checked it out, trying all the time to put useful information, safety tips, something that's going on in the department, something that's going on in the village. So we've had a lot of success with it so far. People seem to are taken to it, and I anticipate, and the department anticipates, that the interest in it is just going to continue to grow.
Well, and when you think about it, a lot of villages, we're a little different here. The police department is part of the village. There's a lot of places where all these people are separate entities, so people are kind of looking for specific to the police department. So it kind of makes sense that they can find it. So that's a place you can go to get that schedule as it comes closer. And there's no tickets to get in the mall, by the way. It's just as if you were there on any given day. There's no tickets or a price to come and see the exposition.
You said tickets. I thought for a second no tickets will be issued in the mall. No, there'll be no tickets issued in the mall, and you do not need a ticket to get in. No, it's just a free show. Yeah. Thank you to Westfield Hawthorn for their cooperation with everything they do to pull this off with everybody in the engineering group in the mall and mall security. It truly is a team effort to pull this off, because it takes months and months of planning. And it's appreciated. So, no, but it's free. Just come on in the mall and shop around when you're done. Visit Maggiano's, go to Dave & Buster's. The theater's open now, and we anticipate with the opening of the theater that the crowds are going to be even better than they were last year, which was not long after Maggiano's and Dave & Buster's opened up. So.
And that helped, I bet you. I bet you get quite a crowd. So.
I think we will. Last year, Maggiano's and Dave & Buster's were very helpful to us as far as feeding all these officers and all these civilian personnel from these agencies. They helped us out a lot in sponsoring the event, and we'll see what happens this year too. But whether it's them or somebody else, it's a team thing.
Team effort, team effort. Well, let's go back. Now let me jump back again. You said on the Facebook and the website you talked about there's a lot of safety information. There's information to protect yourself from fraud. And before we started talking, let's give people some safety tips, because we've been talking a little bit about credit card or debit card or those identity theft kind of things. And you and I both have a little experience on that, where all of a sudden you get a charge you don't know. Tell people what they can do and what they should be doing to watch their bills.
Well, I guess I'll just give a quick example of what happened to me just a week ago. I went to my online bank and was just checking transactions like we all do and transferring money or whatever. And I noticed two small transactions, two small debit transactions. One was for $2.89 at a McDonald's in Chicago, and the other one was for $1 at a parking meter in Chicago on dates when I wasn't in Chicago. And even if I was, I would certainly remember those kind of small transactions, and they were fraudulent. I immediately called the bank and told them about it, and they were.
What's the procedure? So they not only credited you, but that's kind of a flag that something bigger could be coming up the road. So they changed your card.
Well, it can be a flag that something bigger is coming, or a lot of times a criminal or a crook or whoever is doing it might just continue the small transactions because it's free money. Mm-hmm. The idea
and nobody's noticing and nobody cares about $1, so they're not going to call.
Exactly. They might not notice it, or they might just think, oh, my wife or my husband or somebody else did it. I'm not going to worry about it. Forget it. It's not big enough to worry about, and they might just keep on doing it. And then after a while, they're going to notice, the person doing it, they're going to notice that wasn't caught. Or maybe this person just doesn't care. Maybe this person is not being observant. They're not looking at their statements online or in paper or what have you. So it might continue at that rate, or the odds are it's going to get worse and it's going to increase. In my particular case, when I talked to the bank, they said it was my number in a parking meter. They must have had to swipe it. Mm-hmm. So somehow they got my, somewhere down the line, I used my debit card and re-encoded. They re-encoded it, and that's it. But fortunately, like I said, I immediately called. The card was immediately, the number was immediately voided out, and I've got another card, which I would just encourage everybody, take a few minutes, at least maybe every 3 days, every 4 days, at minimum, and just go through your statement, go through the transactions, and if you see something that looks like out of place or looks strange, check into it, please.
And you can do that, debit cards or credit cards, because the credit card companies want the fraud stopped too. If you call and you don't know what it is, they'll tell you, like you said, they told you what it was and where it was and when it happened. They can give you a lot of detail, and then you can say, truly not mine, and then they'll help you with that.
Oh, sure, the statement actually had where it was. The date was off a little bit because it's got to get posted and it's all pending and that kind of thing. But no, we got to the bottom of it. Then fortunately, I'm not going to be on the hook for any money, and most of the time you won't be. If the card is actually stolen, if the card itself is stolen, and you don't report it in a timely fashion, there are some deadlines that has to be adhered to. I would strongly urge everybody, if you do find your card missing, immediately notify your bank so you get reimbursed accordingly.
Yeah, and like if you don't know what to do, call either the bank or the credit card issuing company or somebody. Absolutely. Or just even call a customer service number. They'll get you to the person you need, and that's what they want. They want it stopped too. It's on their nickel as well. So
yes,
very good. So and these are the kinds of things you can find on the Facebook and the website, and all those kinds of things to keep you safe. And I know that if you see scams, you'll put those up there. So you're always on the lookout for everybody. So thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome. Just trying to help everybody. It's all we want to do.
Well, and if people do have questions, you can always call into you don't have to call 911. You can just call the regular numbers, call into the community service. They're there to talk to you. You can send emails, so you guys are available. But if you see something immediate and you're kind of wondering what you should do, we always like to remind people that it is okay to call 911, right?
Certainly is. If it looks unusual, you see something that's unusual, out of the ordinary, if you're on the fence, please call immediately.
Okay, and they can call 911. You're not going to yell at us.
No, we won't yell at you. Okay. If you call to ask what time it is, or you call to ask what you should name your next child or something like that, that's wrong. But if it's suspicious, unusual, when you get that gut feeling, is something wrong here, that's when you should be calling 911.
Excellent. Thank you to all your staff. We'll be out here for Saturday and Sunday, September 12th and 13th at the mall for to see all of you and all of your comrades around the area. Thank you so much, and have a great rest of your summer.
Oh, my pleasure, and thank you too. We'll see you on the 12th and 13th of September. Thank you, Lynn.
Welcome to the lower level of the Vernon Hills Village Hall. We are at the Lake County Genealogical Society. I have to look at genealogical because that's a big word for me. We're with Alan Elias. He's a volunteer here. He's the expert on everything genealogical. Here for Lake County, I guess. That's a pretty big title.
I'm not really an expert. I'm a volunteer like many volunteers. I know some things, don't know other things. Our main job is to keep the room open and to try to help people who are interested in family history.
Okay. Because what's the difference between, this looks sort of like a library to me, but not. Can you tell me what it is that you guys do?
Well, what we do is we help people to connect themselves to previous generations back into history. Some our books are really related to particular families, particular places, to help people do that. As volunteers, we don't do the research for other people. What we do is similar to what maybe a school librarian did when a student needed to do a term paper. Help, but don't do the actual detailed work.
Okay. Well, and when it comes to the things you have in here and the people you have in here, I know you're a volunteer. I believe there's another lady in here today. I think she's a volunteer. Are you like this a labor of love for most of you guys? Or?
Yes, exactly, a labor of love.
Well, and as we talk about the Genealogical Society, you have been in different locations. So if somebody has done a project, tracing their family roots before, these are the same people. You've been in a couple locations. You were at Fremont before, and you were at Cook Library, but this is where you've been for a few years now.
Right. We've been here for about 4 or 5 years. Prior to that, we were at Fremont Library in Mundelein, and earlier than that, we're at Cook Library in Libertyville.
So this is the spot to come to now. And when we talk about you guys, what I looked online, it said you were founded like in 1978. So you've gathered a lot of expertise and a lot of items. What kind of items can I see in here? I see a lot of, they look very old books and registries and things like that. Can you tell a little bit about what the items are in here?
Well, they're all different kinds of things that would help people to look back into history in terms of their family and their parents, their grandparents, and so forth. So what we have specifically are a wide range of things. One of the things that we have is we have many of the volumes of a series of books called Germans to America. And what these are transcriptions of ship passenger lists. Many of our ancestors immigrated. So this is about Germans coming to America.
So you've got that here. So that sounds like something that would be kind of rare, that if somebody might come from further than Lake County, Illinois to look at your stuff.
They might. These are published books, and there are in I would say many places. Okay. That's one thing we have. We have another series of books that are really compilations of advertisement, if you will, that Irish people put into newspapers looking for their friends, people who might have immigrated before them. So somebody or other saying, I'm looking for my brother. So that's, again, an interesting source. One of the things that we have is about 200,000 obituaries dating from mid-1975, say, until pretty much current. Some of them go back even into the 1800s. And obituaries, of course, are little newspaper stories about people who have died. So they often have very interesting information.
Yeah, about the other people in their lives, so that helps you with a lot of people then.
Right, because obituaries not only talk about the person who died, but will talk about maybe their parents, maybe their children, what they did for their work, and so on. So they sometimes have very, very good information. Sometimes they are totally disappointing. It's just, sometimes it'll say Mrs. Bob Jones died Thursday, and the poor lady doesn't even get a name. But sometimes they are extremely interesting and are like mini biographies.
So tell me, so you've got all this information about people and their families. Tell me about the typical person who is looking to come in here. What would somebody, is it somebody who's tracing their family tree? What kind of people do you see, and what happens here?
We see all different kinds of people, and there are probably as many reasons for people to get into family history as there are people. Probably the most common reason is that it is fun. People who get into genealogy are the same kind of people who like to work crossword puzzles and do other kinds of interesting things. In genealogy, what you do is you find little separate pieces of information that you can then finally sew together to make a coherent story.
It's like a detective work.
Kind of a detective. That's another thing. People who are into genealogy often love detective stories. There are other reasons. Sometimes there's a family mystery that people want to solve. Two brothers who fell in love with the same woman maybe is one of the stories. Somebody maybe who just plain disappeared. Some people are interested in medical issues. Does heart disease run in my family? And if so, that might say there are some smart things I ought to do medically. There are the people who want to find out, are my people somehow related to a famous royalty, movie star, war hero?
Interesting. So tell me, so if I was starting to do this, or even if I was an expert at it, I look in here and it is a little daunting. You have a lot of resources, and I know you've got your kind volunteers here. What would a person do if they wanted to come in and learn how to get access? What would a step you would say people? Should they call you and try to set up an appointment that you can guide them to an area in here, or what's the best way for everybody?
Well, probably the best way is to call the number to make sure that there will be a volunteer here. Since we are volunteers, and, this is not our job, it's a labor of love, sometimes the room is not open if a volunteer isn't here. So then, assuming somebody has done that, then they come in, talk to the volunteer. The general recommended way to go is to start with yourself and work back in time. Some people try to do it the other way. They say, I think I'm related to George Washington. And they start with George Washington and try to work back. That gets very complicated, particularly because George Washington had no children. So if you're related to George Washington, you're not related through his children. You must be related to his brother or sister or something, some other way like that. So start with yourself and then ask the question, okay, what are the names of your parents? Maybe you don't know the names of your parents. What are the names of your grandparents? At some point there, you won't know it, and will require research. And then some of the commonest ways to find information are to go to census information. That's that information that the federal government asks for every 10 years on the even tens. Get a lot of interesting information there. That's a starting point. And then from there, you can go lots of different ways.
Well, I can see, it seems to me that you have kind of a love for this sleuthing. And so you are a wealth of information. And I know you said, I'm not going to come and do this for you. But if somebody did want to get started, you definitely could give them a little bit of a spark and a little direction.
Definitely, definitely.
Well, it sounds like something good that everybody should be looking into. And these resources, to have them right here in the lower level of the village hall, you can't be any more handy. I know you said you are volunteers, but you're trying to keep the facility open Monday through Friday during the day, 9 a.m. till 4:30, 4:45. But it is a good idea to give a call just to make sure somebody's here, and somebody can then direct you to some of these resources.
Definitely true.
Well, we mentioned that you guys are all volunteers here, but you're here to help because this is really a labor of love for you guys. And you mentioned we're not here to do the research for somebody, but you do have resources here, and you have expertise here, and you have opportunities here that people can tap into. So can we talk a little bit about, first of all, if I were coming here, do I have to be from Lake County, and is all the stuff in here about Lake County, or what kind of people might be here?
No, you don't have to think that we only have Lake County resources, and you don't have to be an Illinois person. There is no charge other than copying, if you're in the room here. We have information, obviously, about Lake County. We have information about other counties within Illinois, other states within the U.S., and we have information about other countries in the world.
So you get visitors from pretty far and wide, then?
Yes, we do.
Well, and if somebody was coming in, again, you're not going to help them do the research. You'll point them to the resources and give them some help that way. But I understand you've also got opportunities where, if you get into this, where you've got meetings where you all kind of talk about these things and you share your love. Can you tell everybody about the opportunities for meetings and workshops?
Okay, we have two different kinds of things. We have a monthly meeting that runs January through October. And this is at the Mundelein Park District Civic Center, 1401 North Midlothian Road in Mundelein. That's shortly north and on the east side of the Fremont Public Library. And that is a totally free meeting. And we'll have speakers who will come and will basically talk the how-to of some of the difficult things. One of them specifically would be how to work with land records, since land records involve legal descriptions of land, grantee, grantor, the person selling, the person buying the land. It's kind of involved, and you end up having to work in courthouses typically. So it's good to have some idea of how to do that. So that might be one specific thing. You can go to our website and find out what the particular speaker is going to be and what the particular topic is going to be.
And anybody can come to those meetings.
Right, anyone can come to that, and those are totally free. In addition to that, in November, we have what we call a workshop. And here, because we get more noted speakers to come in, we do have to charge an admission fee. This is an all-day event normally held at the Round Lake Beach Cultural and Civic Center.
So that's coming up in November. And so if people want to know more, do they have to get registered ahead, or do they watch as we get into the fall and just keep track of your website so they know to come?
Well, the website will give people instructions. You know, it is recommended that you send in your application early. There's a benefit. If you walk in the door, it costs you a little bit more. So pay attention to the website. It's an all-day thing, and with very high-quality speakers.
So you've got a lot of resources here, not just you as volunteers who are experts and are passionate about this. You've got the resources here in this room. You can help people learn how to tap into other resources, other places. You're not just bound by these four walls, and especially having these meetings and the workshops, you really have a great network in place for somebody who wants to get started or who might have hit a bump in the road and they don't know how to get any further. You guys are a great resource.
We like to think that we are. We have volunteers who have knowledge in lots of different areas. It's probably unlikely that your question is so obscure that no other member has ever worked on that. So come here and be able to work with kind of the mass knowledge of the members of the society.
Well, and as we said before, it's a good idea to call ahead to make sure there is a volunteer here, because this is a volunteer-led organization. They strive to keep the office here in the lower level of the Village Hall open Monday through Friday, but it is good to call ahead because you want to make sure you can get in here, and then if you need to talk to somebody, they'll be here. The website is full of information as well. Thank you all for all you guys do, and please extend that thanks to the rest of your volunteer team, because I know you guys do all this because, well, you're interested in it and you want to help. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Hope everybody comes down and takes a look. Thank you all. Don't forget, go online, call ahead, and come visit these folks. Thanks.
Well, that wraps up this edition of the Vernon Hills Update. If you have comments or suggestions, please contact Mike Stordo at 847-918-3560 or email Mike S. at vhills.org. Thank you for tuning into the Vernon Hills Update.